This portrait shows Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Many people know him as India's 11th president, and others remember him for his brilliant work in space and defense technology. But throughout his life, he always saw himself as a teacher, someone who deeply loved guiding students. To understand how he became such a revered leader, we need to look at where his story begins. This image shows the ornate, sweeping pillars of the Rameshwaram temple corridor. Kalam grew up right here, in this island town in the former Madras state. It was a place steeped in spirituality, where the famous Shiva temple brought pilgrims from all over, creating a daily atmosphere of devotion and deep cultural tradition. He was born into a middle-class Tamil family. His father, Jainulabdin, did not have much formal education or wealth, but he possessed great innate wisdom. His mother, Ashiyama, matched this with a true generosity of spirit. He fed anyone who needed a meal, and Kalam recalled that far more outsiders ate with their family every day than their own relatives combined. Kalam described himself as a short boy with undistinguished looks, living in an ancestral limestone and brick house on Mosque Street. His father avoided inessential luxuries, but always provided plenty of food, medicine, and clothing. This stable environment gave Kalam a deeply secure childhood, both materially and emotionally, giving him the strong foundation he would need later in life. That sense of security met the outside world in 1939. The Second World War broke out, and Kalam was just 8 years old. At first, his isolated area was completely unaffected by the fighting happening across the globe. But the war caused strange ripples in the local economy. A sudden demand for tamarind seeds erupted in the market. Seeing an opportunity, young Kalam collected the seeds and sold them to a provision shop. A full day's collection earned him 1 anna. An anna is an old Indian coin that was worth about 6 paise. It was a tiny sum, but it was his own. Soon, India was forced to join the Allied forces, and a state of emergency was declared. The train halt at Rameshwaram station was suspended. Newspapers suddenly had to be bundled and thrown out of the moving train doors. Kalam's cousin, who distributed the papers, needed a helping hand to catch these flying bundles. Kalam naturally stepped in to fill the slot, earning his very first official wages. Half a century later, Kalam wrote that he could still feel the surge of pride from that exact moment. Earning your own money for the first time teaches you the value of personal effort and self-reliance. Kalam inherited honesty and self-discipline from his father and deep kindness from his mother. He shared these traits with his 3 closest childhood friends, Ramanatha Sastry, Aravindan, and Siva Prakasan. All 3 boys were from Orthodox Hindu Brahmin families. As children, they never felt any difference among themselves regarding religion or upbringing. This illustration shows 2 young boys from different religious backgrounds sharing a meal. Kalam wore a cap that marked him as a Muslim, and his best friend, Ramanatha Sastry, wore the sacred thread of a Hindu priest's son. They sat together in the front row at school and spent their days side by side. One day, in the 5th standard, a new teacher arrived. He looked at the boys and decided a Hindu priest's son should not sit with a Muslim boy. He ordered Kalam to the backbench. Both boys felt terribly sad, and Kalam never forgot the image of his friend weeping as he packed up his things and moved to the last row. After school, the boys told their parents what happened. Ramanatha's father, the high priest of the Rameshwaram temple, immediately summoned the teacher. Right in front of the boys, the priest bluntly told the teacher he must not spread the poison of social inequality and communal intolerance in the minds of innocent children. He told him to apologize or quit the school entirely. The teacher regretted his behavior and was ultimately reformed by the priest's strong conviction. We see here that harmony doesn't happen by accident. It survives because the adults in a community actively refuse to tolerate discrimination among their youth. Even with good people around, the small society of Rameshwaram was highly segregated. But Kalam's science teacher, Siva Subramanya Iyer, was a bit of a rebel. Though he was an Orthodox Brahmin himself, he constantly tried to break social barriers so people from varying backgrounds could mingle easily. One day, Iyer invited Kalam to his home for a meal. His wife was horrified. She refused to let a Muslim boy eat in her ritually pure kitchen. She drew a hard line. Iyer was not perturbed. Instead, he simply bypassed her rule. He served Kalam with his own hands and sat down right beside him to eat his meal. He showed his wife, who watched from behind the door, that Kalam ate rice and drank water the exact same way anyone else did. When Kalam hesitated to accept an invitation for the following weekend, Iyer told him, "Once you decide to change the system, such problems have to be confronted." And his patience worked. The next week, Iyer's wife took Kalam inside her own kitchen and served him food with her own hands. Persistent, peaceful actions gradually wear down rigid systems. By calmly leading through example, a teacher dismantled his own household's prejudice. This photograph shows Jawaharlal Nehru holding the Indian national flag. When the Second World War finally ended, Mahatma Gandhi declared that Indians would build their own India. The whole country was filled with boundless optimism as their independence approached. Caught in this wave of forward momentum, Kalam asked his father for permission to leave the island of Rameswaram and study at the district headquarters in Ramanathapuram. His father knew Kalam had to leave to grow. To comfort Kalam's mother, he quoted the poet Khalil Gibran, saying, "Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts." Looking back at these early years, we can trace the exact moments that shaped the president he would become. He learned the dignity of hard work on moving trains. He learned the beauty of harmony from his childhood friends, and he learned the courage to challenge injustice from the teachers who stood by him. As we wrap up, think about your own childhood. Who were the teachers and family members who guided you? What kind of human being are you choosing to become based on the lessons they shared? We often look at famous leaders and see only the finished product, but greatness always starts somewhere. For APJ Abdul Kalam, it started with a humble family, a supportive community, and the quiet courage to always stand for what is right.